Over and over and over, I watch women who blow it, in quotes, and then they decide they're going to start over on Monday. So they continue blowing it for the rest of the weekend or however many days they have until Monday. And it is the same exact pattern where it's like, I was good, I was good, I was good. And then I blew it, whether it was a meal, whole day, whatever it was. But so I messed up. And so now I need to start over. But here's what I want to challenge you with today. I don't think that you even know if you messed up. Like in your head, you messed up on whatever plan that you arbitrarily decided that you were going to follow, but you don't know what to eat because you don't actually know what you're currently eating. So you just decide, I'm going to eat salads for every meal this week. And then by the time the weekend comes around, you're freaking starving and ravenous. And so you go nuts. And then you're like, well, shit, ruined that. And so then you got to start over on Monday. However, if you start tracking your food, and don't tune out just because I said tracking your food, but I want you to frame it as curiosity, not control. Like, what are you actually eating? Because if you can get clarity on your current food stuff, you don't have to punish yourself with it. And food tracking is not punishment because right now you're basing your choices that you're starting over every Monday, or you blew it, or you were good. You're basing that on your feelings, not you, the actual data to support you were good or you went off plan or what have you. And so you get into this spiral of thinking that you overate and then you blew it. So then you keep blowing it until you're ready to start over on Monday. I know you are familiar with this cycle because every woman I think I've ever talked to is familiar with this start over Monday cycle. However, if you are like in the intro of this, when I said you're just eating salads all week and then come the weekend and you're ravenous and you go a little overboard, your weekly total might actually be completely fine, but you just don't know it because you're not aware of what you are eating. Without knowing your actual food intake, every moment or every food choice feels like this catastrophe if it goes poorly, or like, yes, I was good. Like, thank you, Jesus. I did it right. I stayed on track this week. But you don't actually know because you don't have a plan. You don't even know what you're currently eating. So, how do you know if the plan is a good plan for you? That's the whole point of today's episode because you don't need to track for life. You just don't. I would challenge you to track for 1 week. Track your food, like actually weigh and measure it for 1 week. And if you're like, that seems excessive, so does blowing it and starting over every Monday for, I don't know, 3 decades. That seems pretty obsessive to me or excessive to me. Right. So this is not a life sentence where you're doomed to have to track your food all the time. But I will tell you that it makes it really difficult to course correct if you're not even sure what the correct course is, right? So you don't have to do it forever. You don't even have to be perfect. However, when you learn what's actually happening, like what you're actually eating, how far off plan did you go when you ate that meal that was not planned? Stop judging yourself and jumping to conclusions and getting emotional about it when you don't even have the data to say if you did or didn't mess up. And I put mess up in quotes for those of you just listening. So try this experiment. If you have never measured your food and tracked your food and weighed your food, do it for a week and just see what happens because this isn't about restricting. I don't want you to change anything. I just want you to know what you are currently eating. You're observing. Like treat it like a science experiment and you are just observing and writing down everything and still eat all the same stuff in all the same quantities, but just so now you can have the actual data of what you're currently eating because you might find that, like in my example, you eat almost nothing, you undereat for a few days. And so then, of course, it makes sense that you're ravenous and then you go nuts. However, if you total up your calories for the week, you might be right on track. So if that method works for you, which I find it hard to believe that that would work, but then fine, at least you know. Or you could take that information and then spread your calories out over the whole week instead of really eating in a calorie deficit for 3 days until you're ravenous and making up for that deficit. So you might find that your weekly total is totally fine, but your day to day is a mess and it stresses you out. It is emotion, like you're on an emotional roller coaster for no reason. And that's something that tracking your food can help you learn and make this whole battle with food not even a battle anymore because you know what you're eating. It's not emotional decisions anymore. It's not being good or bad. You have the data right in front of you. You may even find some meals like that you thought were great, like a granola bowl. And then you might find there's like 700 calories in there and you maybe assume there was like 200 because it's healthy. But it's stuff like that that unless you are tracking your food, you don't know. And that not knowing, that's what drives us nuts in our head because then we get frustrated and we're like, why isn't this working? I was so good. Were you? I mean, does the data say that you were? Is good even the goal here? Like what does good mean? Does good mean that you only ate salads? Is that your definition? Like there's so much more to it. And so when you have all of this information, it means that you can stop spinning your wheels and staying stuck because you can't figure out what's going on. With the data in front of you, you can actually know, oh, this was here, I did that there, and then you can adjust the plan accordingly. And that's how emotionally you stop blowing it every single week and then starting over on Monday. Information does this, data does this. So you just have to be consistent. And instead of reacting with guilt, we're responding to what's reality of the situation because you might be totally fine. You probably didn't mess anything up. But because it wasn't a salad, your brain goes, oh, well, we blew it in that really judgy, bitchy voice. You know the one I'm talking about. So tracking and knowing what you're eating allows you to approach the whole food conversation calmly and without all this crazy emotional baggage that was marketed into us. Instead, you just get to say, here are the numbers, here's what's up, let's make the plan accordingly. And so this data turns the drama into really good decisions. It actually eliminates the drama. And so if that's something you're interested in, this is exactly what I help women do step by step by step, figuring out what they eat, figuring out a plan, how to stick to the plan, even when life gets in the way. I do this in my one-on-one coaching. So if you are interested in that, come and find me anywhere, but on my website, I have exactly what my one-on-one coaching looks like, the process, all that. But I will help you figure all of this out so that you're not just throwing spaghetti at the wall. So that is today's daily bit of fit. Take it and run or walk or stretch. Just go move. That's it for today's daily bit of fit. I'm Coach Mack from Running with Bacon, reminding you that small steps really do add up. Make sure to follow or subscribe so you never miss a bit. And if today's episode hit home, send it to a friend who might need it too. And if you ever want a quick pep talk tailored just for you, DM me on Instagram because I'm always happy to send some encouragement your way. You can find more support and my health coaching resources at runningwithbacon.com or come hang with me on Instagram for some healthy fun. Until next time, keep taking those small steps because you don't need a perfect plan, just a consistent one.